I'm at an age and I'm at a stage where I'm gonna say, parents, please share your details nabantwana benu. Please share details about the ownership of the house, the ownership of the car, the monies that you leave behind. Don't tell us everything if you feel like yeah, they're gonna kill me because at least leave details of who we can contact if it happens that you pass away. I'm at a stage where I'm gonna say siyasokola when you guys leave us behind emhlabeni. Leave abantwana bakho with certain information, certain details, outside people that we can run to when we want certain information about your belongings, inheritance, ownership. Share my number with police that I can trust. Share my number with colleague that I can call when you indaba yokuthi nizoshare amaphepha. There's a certain suitcase, a certain bag where you keep your information. It doesn't work. The moment you show now your family knows first. Bayafika, they take your papers, they take your belongings, they hide them for their own greediness or for their own benefits. And then now umntwana is at an age where sekafuna indlu kababakhe, ufuna izimali zakababakhe, ufuna imoto kababakhe, and it's nowhere to be found. Niyasisokolisa. As a firstborn child, please share those details nomntwana. Please give that child a certain clue of where they can start, where they can run to. Please. Please share details about the ownership of the house, the ownership of the car.
So I was about to go out just now when I saw this girl's video. I wanted to go run, but I saw this girl's video, go watch it, valid. Someone who works in this industry, what she's saying is valid. See, one of the things that people don't understand at times is that death changes the whole system, especially for children. Your absence, especially if you're a single parent, changes the whole game plan. That's why I always say to people who come to my estate plan, first things first, let's envision you not being there. Let's play it out. You are absent in this picture. One, you're leaving minor kids. Who's looking after them? Who's taking care of them on a day-to-day basis? What does this look like? Is this person capable? Two, where's the financial support going to come from? You are gone. Let's say you're leaving now the kids in the care of your mother. Probably your mother doesn't work. Where's the finances going to come from? You're paying for school fees, you're paying for transport, you're paying for lunch, all of these things. How are these things going to be paid for going forward? Let's think about it. Where are the monies? How are you leaving them? How are you structuring them? Now, thinking about the fact that maybe these kids are 12, 14, 5 years, the funds that you're leaving, to what extent can they take these kids? Let's think about it for a second. Based on the cost of you taking care of them currently, when they get to 18, are there additional funds they can access? Where are they located? How can they go about claiming them? Is it clear? Where's the information at? How are you structuring these funds? How are they going to get access to them? So typically, you need to have a clear vision how this needs to operate. And if you have kids that can understand, at times it's necessary to have a communication with them to say, if something happens to me, you do 1, 2, 3. That's kids who can understand. It's worse when you have kids that don't understand what's going on. They cannot even fathom what you're trying to say to them. In that instance, I always say, who do you trust the most? One, that person better be your executor. If you're going to have a will, and that person at least needs to have an idea of how you're living. And right now, you should at least be opening up channels of communication. You're not telling them about anything with regards to your monies and how much you have, but what you're saying is, I'd like you to take over the role of motherhood from me if something were to happen to me. And if something happens to me, I want you to go there. There you're going to get access to certain things. Don't give people the opportunity to get access to your things right now. It's not necessary, but you're pinpointing them to a direction to say, if you go there, you go collect my things, everything will be there. You need to have clear communication so that people can access all of these things. From time to time, I often give you stats of the billions of rands that remain unclaimed in the form of pension funds, in the form of investments, etc., financial assets in South Africa. And if you Google right now, you'll see that those things are sitting at billions of rands. Last week or this week early, also the JSE came out to say there are people with unclaimed dividends. Those dividends come from parents who had bought shares, who probably, some of them were getting those shares, right? But now, after death, obviously their bank accounts were closed down, etc. The families know nothing about those dividends. They don't have an opportunity to go claim. And so those end up also being unclaimed death benefits, right? So all of this happens as a result of people keeping to themselves, not even opening up a channel of communication, giving people an idea. You'll find that at times we get people approaching us saying, listen, I know my mother was responsible enough to have kept monies from me somewhere. Can we investigate? First issue is, where do we start? You look at the service providers in South Africa, there are way too many. Every day I get surprised when somebody says, oh, listen, I have funds at this place. And I'm like, where? I've never heard of that company before. You know what I'm saying? So where do we even start? You need to leave traits. You need to leave information. You need to open channels of communication. Obviously, no one is saying you need to give details to kids. Okay, there's 1 million rands. No. But if you or something happens to me, I want you to go to so and so, or else this is where you approach to get all of the information that's needed to ensure that you're going to be okay when I'm not there. And always think about someone who's going to help these kids. We can only hope that they're going to do the best for those kids, but you need to think about this person, because children under 18 cannot handle these affairs on their own. That girl is very valid. So there's a problem I just want to highlight to you, and a possible solution. There's so many solutions, but I'm going to highlight just one for you. So Jim and Jane are married in community of property. They have 2 kids. Now, both of them are concerned that if either of one of them passes away, the other one might just end up getting married again. Now, they understand that when love strikes, right, a lot of the times people don't think clearly, and they might just get married in community of property. What happens in this instance? They are then concerned that, okay, if Jim or Jane then ends up getting married, they're going to also incorporate these assets that, these 2 people have built with now a new spouse, right? And what does that do? It then compromises the inheritance of the kids, which is something that they don't want to do. Now, what could be the possible solution here for Jim and Jane, since they have this concern? Possible solution: draft a joint will. Why a joint will? So in the joint will, you could actually incorporate a condition that says whatever's left, after the first dying spouse is going to go to the surviving spouse, provided it's going to move to the kids. What this means then is the surviving spouse is obviously not going to be able to encumber those properties. They're not going to be able to get rid of them or sell them, or actually, get them to form part of the new marriage in case they do get married after losing their spouse. This means that the children will now be guaranteed to get an inheritance here. But now, the downfall about this is, if Jane is in a situation and wants to sell one of the properties because she wants to realize them and make a bit of cash, she's not going to be able to do that because she has inherited those things, provided they have to trickle down to those kids. So it's a solution. It's one to think about, but there's also other solutions that you could also think about. So something I wanted to put out there.